Welcome to Everyday English Class. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday English, where learning English is easy and fun. I'm Grace.
Hello, Grace, and a very warm welcome to all our wonderful listeners around the world. I'm Peter. It is so good to be here with you today. How are you doing today, Grace?
I am doing absolutely great, thank you. I have my big cup of coffee, the sun is shining outside, and I am feeling very excited about our topic today. How about you, Peter? Did you have a good week at work?
I had a very busy week, Grace. And to be honest, I had a slightly stressful moment yesterday.
Oh no, a stressful moment. What happened?
Well, we had a very big online meeting at my company. There were people from all over the world on the video call. My boss was talking, and my colleagues were sharing ideas. I had a really great idea that I wanted to share, but I just froze.
You froze? Why did you freeze? Your English is fantastic.
I know, but business English feels like a completely different language. Everyone was speaking so quickly and using big professional words. I didn't know how to interrupt politely. I didn't want to sound rude, so I just sat there in silence. I didn't say my idea at all.
Oh, Peter, I completely understand that feeling. So many English learners experience this exact same problem. When we are at work, in a meeting, or giving a presentation, the pressure is very high. We think we need a dictionary of giant, complicated words to sound smart.
Exactly. I feel like my normal, everyday English is not good enough for the office.
But that is a myth. You do not need giant, complicated words. You just need a few specific chunks of professional English to help you navigate the meeting. And that is exactly what we are going to learn today. Today, we are going to help you speak like a pro and master corporate English for meetings and presentations.
I really need this lesson, Grace. I never want to sit in silence during a meeting again. I want to share my ideas with confidence.
And you will. But before we dive into all of these amazing professional secrets today, we have a small friendly request for all of you listening right now.
Yes, we do. If you enjoy learning English with us, please take just one tiny second to click the subscribe button to our Everyday English channel. Subscribing is completely free, and it means you will never miss a fun English lesson with us.
Exactly. And please click that like button. Give us a big thumbs up. It helps our podcast grow so much. And if you have a colleague or a friend who also gets nervous speaking English at work, please share this episode with them. Learning together is always the best way to learn.
We appreciate your support so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, Peter, let's get down to business. Let's solve your meeting problem. The secret to corporate English is not memorizing long lists of business vocabulary. The secret is learning chunks, groups of words that always go together.
Yes, I love chunks. They're like shortcuts for my brain. So where do we start? Let's start at the very beginning of the meeting.
Great idea. If you are the person leading the meeting, you have to start it professionally. You do not just want to say, "Okay, we talk now."
No, that sounds a little too casual. What is a better chunk to use?
A very natural and professional way to start is to say, "Let's get started." Or you can say, "Thank you everyone for joining today."
That sounds very polite, and it clearly signals that it is time to work.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about the exact problem you had yesterday, Peter. You had a great idea, but someone else was talking. You needed to interrupt.
Yes. In my native language, I know how to jump into a conversation. But in English, I feel like I am being rude. I don't want to shout, "Stop talking! Listen to me!"
Please do not shout that at your boss. To interrupt politely in a corporate meeting, you need a soft entry. A perfect chunk is, "Excuse me, may I add something here?"
Oh, I really like that. May I makes it a question, which is very respectful.
Can I jump in here? To jump in. That means to enter the conversation, right?
Yes, it is very respectful. Another fantastic and very common phrase native speakers use is, "Can I jump in here for a second?"
Yes, it is a great business idiom. Can I jump in here for a second? Let's practice. I am your colleague. I am talking a lot about the budget. I want you to interrupt me with your idea.
Okay, I am ready.
So if we look at the marketing numbers for this month, I think we need to spend more money on advertising because the television ads are very expensive.
Excuse me, Grace, can I jump in here for a second?
Of course, Peter. Go ahead.
I think we should try social media advertising instead. It is much cheaper.
Let's pause right there. Peter, that was brilliant. You used the soft entry. I immediately stopped and gave you the floor, and you shared your idea perfectly.
Wow, that felt so easy. I wasn't scared at all because I had that chunk ready in my pocket. Can I jump in here for a second? I am going to write that down.
It changes everything. Now, what happens after you share your idea? In a meeting, you have to agree or disagree with your team.
That's a very good point. We learned that one before. It makes the other person feel very smart and respected. But Grace, what if I think their idea is terrible? What if I strongly disagree?
Yes. If someone says a great idea, I usually just nod my head and say, yes, good.
Yes, good is fine. But if you want to speak like a pro, you can use a stronger chunk. You can say, that's a very good point. Or, I completely agree with you.
Disagreeing is the trickiest part of business English. You never want to say, you are wrong, or that is a bad idea. That will create a conflict.
So, how do I say you are wrong without saying you are wrong?
You use the yes, but technique. First, you validate their idea, and then you introduce your idea. You say, I see what you mean, but...
I see what you mean, but that is very diplomatic. It tells them, I hear you and I respect your thought. However, I have a different direction.
Exactly. Another beautiful phrase for disagreeing is, I understand your perspective. However...
Let's do another role play. Let's pretend you are my manager. You want us to work on Saturday. I need to politely disagree.
Peter, the project is behind schedule. I think the whole team needs to come into the office this Saturday to finish it.
I understand your perspective, Grace. However, the team has worked very long hours this week. I think if we rest on Saturday, we will be much faster on Monday morning.
Excellent, Peter. If you said, no, that's a bad idea, I would be angry as a boss. But because you said, I understand your perspective, however, I am open to listening to your solution.
This is pure magic, Grace. These chunks are saving my career. Now, what about the other big corporate fear? Presentations.
Presentations. Standing up in front of the room or sharing your screen on a video call and talking to everyone for 10 minutes.
My hands are sweating just thinking about it. How do I sound organized when I'm giving a long presentation?
The key to a great presentation is using signpost words. A signpost is a sign on the street that tells you which way to go. In English, we use words to tell the audience where our speech is going.
Oh, I see. It guides the listener so they don't get lost.
First, I'd like to talk about
our new sales strategy.
Perfect. Then, when you want to change to a new topic, you do not just stop and start a new sentence. You use a transition chunk. You say, moving on to, or now let's look at.
Moving on to the budget. Or now let's look at the timeline. That creates a very smooth bridge between my ideas. It sounds incredibly professional.
It really does. It shows that you are in control of the room. And finally, when you reach the end of your presentation or the end of a meeting, you need a strong closing.
How do I close? Do I just say, okay, we are done. Goodbye.
No, you want to summarize what happened. A fantastic professional chunk is, To wrap up.
To wrap up. To wrap something is like putting paper around a present, right?
Yes. To wrap up is an idiom that means to finish and summarize everything nicely. You can say, to wrap up, we agreed to change the advertising strategy.
And then we need to talk about what happens tomorrow.
Let's review the next steps.
Let's review the next steps. I love that. It shows leadership. It tells the team exactly who is doing what before the next meeting.
Peter, if you use these chunks, you are going to sound like a CEO. You have tools to open the meeting, interrupt politely, agree and disagree, structure a presentation, and close the meeting strongly.
I feel so much more confident. I don't feel like I need to translate giant words in my head anymore. I just need to pull these chunks out of my pocket.
Exactly. And remember our golden rule of everyday English? Even in the corporate world, mistakes are our friends.
Even at work? What if my boss hears me make a grammar mistake?
Even at work, communication is more important than perfection. If you make a small grammar mistake, but you confidently say, "Can I jump in here for a second?" and you share a brilliant idea, your boss is going to remember the brilliant idea, not the grammar mistake.
Communication, not perfection. That is so true. The mistake I made yesterday was being silent. It is much better to speak up and make a tiny mistake than to hide my ideas from the team.
Yes, be brave. Your voice and your ideas are valuable. Let's do a very quick review of the corporate chunks we learned today, just so our listeners can write them down in their notebooks.
A great idea. Let's recap. First, to start a meeting.
Let's get started. Or, thank you everyone for joining today.
Second, to interrupt politely when you have an idea.
Excuse me, may I add something here? Or, can I jump in here for a second?
Third, to disagree respectfully without starting an argument.
I see what you mean, but
Fourth, to guide your audience during a presentation.
use signposts like, "First, I'd like to talk about," and moving on to,
And finally, to close a meeting like a true professional.
to wrap up. And let's review the next steps.
Wow, you are a fantastic teacher, Grace. And to all of our brilliant listeners, you can absolutely do this. Do not let business English scare you. It is just normal English wearing a nice suit.
Normal English, wearing a nice suit. Peter, that is the best description I have ever heard. I love it.
Well, look at the time, Grace. Our meeting today has flown by.
It really has. I had a wonderful time learning with you, Peter. And a massive thank you to all of our amazing listeners for joining us today. We love helping you build your confidence so that you can navigate your career in English.
We really do. And before we officially wrap up and review our next steps, we have some special homework for you. We want to hear from you in the comments.
Yes, please go down to the comment section below and tell us, what is your favorite phrase to use at work? Or, if you're feeling brave, write a sentence using one of the new chunks we learned today.
Can I jump in here for a second and tell us your thoughts? We cannot wait to read all of your wonderful answers and chat with you down there.
Thank you all so much for listening today. Keep practicing, be proud of every mistake, and speak up in your next meeting. Have a beautiful day, and see you next time on Everyday English.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a great week at work. Take care.